Throughout Ben 10, the Omnitrix has been destroyed, blocked, and lost by Ben Tennyson in ways as epic as being frozen in time, destroyed on an enemy's wrist, and even ripped from the very skin of its wearer. So I took on the task of compiling the 13 moments when the Omnitrix was destroyed, blocked, and stolen in Ben 10. Omnitrix. At the end of the second season of the original Ben 10, something incredible happened. Vilgax and Kevin had to join forces to steal the watch from Ben. What they didn't know was that Ben had accidentally unlocked the Master Control, gaining a power beyond his imagination. By a twist of fate, Kevin, Vilgax, and Ben end up trapped in the projector. Kevin knew this wasn't enough to stop Ben, so he decided to kidnap Ben. With her as a hostage, it was easier for Ben to hand over the Omnitrix. Ben has to think this through carefully, so he offers a deal to Vilgax and Kevin, the Omnitrix in exchange for his cousin. Both enemies agree, and while the exchange is about to take place, Ben resets the Omnitrix, removing the Master Control. Here we witness one of the cruelest scenes in all of Ben 10, as Kevin puts a machine on Ben to rip the Omnitrix off him. The suffering is intense, since the Omnitrix is literally attached to Ben's skin. In the end, the Omnitrix is finally ripped off, making this the first time Ben loses his Omnitrix. At the end of Ben 10 Alien Force, in the episode The Final Battle, the Omnitrix is blocked for the first time by an external device. Ben had been captured by crabs, and Kevin and Gwen arrive to rescue him. She notices that Ben has something strange on his arm. Ben says it's a device Krabs made to immobilize him and stop him from using the Omnitrix, so what has Krabs actually created? Very simple, a bracelet that completely covers the Omnitrix and doesn't let Ben access his alien transformations, an easy and straightforward way to defeat the most powerful device in the universe. This is a yellow bracelet that completely covers the Omnitrix. It has an opening at the bottom where you can insert the key to release this device. Now, we have to mention that the way Ben frees himself is just as simple. He just manages to get back the key that Krabs had, and that's it. Ben disabled the device and transformed into Big Chill to quickly freeze it. This time, we find ourselves at the end of Ben X Ultimate Alien. A great battle has taken place, and Ben has managed to come out victorious over Diagon and over Vergax. Ben now has no enemies left to face. He possesses the Omnitrix and the Sword of Ascalon. Now, he is one of the most powerful beings in the entire universe. But suddenly, in front of him, Asmod, the creator of both objects, appears, ready to reclaim his sword. As Ben hands over Ascalon, he is surprised to learn that Asmod has also come for the Ultimatrix. But Asmuth, I thought I had proven that I was worthy. As usual, you don't understand, do you? Asmuth had taken the Ultimatrix from him, but would finally give him his reward, the Omnitrix. This is one of the most special locks since it was created by an alien in a very clever way. This happens in Ben 10 Omniverse in the episode Ben's World is Crazy, where our heroes Ben 10 and Ben 23 faced Maltharan in the Time War. This enemy was too powerful, so a fusion had to step in to intervene. The fusion of Clockwork and Ultra T seemed to put up a good fight, but it wasn't enough. In the end, they just got beaten up since the Chronosapien was on another level. He was a perfect alien. One of the many aliens that surpassed the versions of the Omnitrix. An excellent topic for a video. If you're coming from a not so distant future, that video will be up here. Maltharan, being a Chronosapien able to control space and time, decided to teach them a very important lesson. He blocked their Omnitrixes in space and time. Absolutely crazy, but it worked. In the season finale of Ben 10 Alien Force, two great enemies had to join forces, Bill Vilgax and Albedo. Albedo had a pretty good plan, eliminate Ben's companions. Since he knew perfectly well that if Ben was alone, he wasn't a big threat. Ben and Albedo had to face each other in the final battle. Now Albedo had the Ultimatrix, which had a special feature. the ability to transform his aliens into their ultimate forms, something Ben had never seen before. Here, for the first time, we see the evolved form of a humongosaur. The confrontation was almost impossible for Ben. The power gap was very noticeable, so Ben suffers a decisive defeat, which forces him to make a big decision: the lives of his friends or the Omnitrix. Something we had already heard before. A more mature and experienced Ben surprised us all by activating the voice control. With this, he finally deactivated his Omnitrix, and he went on to hand it over to his worst enemy. This lockout doesn't happen to our Ben, or at least not with the one from our universe. In Ben 10 Omniverse, in the episode Ben's World is Crazy, they introduced us to Ben Mad, a tyrant who has put Bellwood and the world at his feet. Luckily for everyone, he is stopped by our two heroes, Ben 10 and Ben 23. They managed to defeat him and put an end to this tyranny. After Ben Mad is defeated, he meets Rook, one of his loyal servants. He orders him to capture the Bens from other dimensions. What he never imagined is that Rook had decided to support the Bens and put an end to this madness.
Take this off me right now! What do you think you're doing?
Exactly what you asked me to do. I'm putting an end to the madness.
Rook would place a somewhat crude device near the wrist on the Omnitrix, preventing Ben Mad from having control over it. As crude as it seemed, this device did its job well.
Without your power watch, you're just a low-level thug.
What?
In Ben 10, Alien 4, something pretty strange happened. Throughout the entire Ben 10 series, several enemies have tried to take the Omnitrix from Ben, but this time, that wasn't the case. Since the Omnitrix decided to leave on its own, it all started when the Omnitrix was malfunctioning as usual. The strange part began when, all of a sudden, it transported them to a new planet. To everyone's surprise, it was Primus. Inside Primus, the Omnitrix started a new process, where it informed Ben Tennyson that it had completed its mission of bringing the Omnitrix to Primus. Additionally, it informed him that its new priority was to find the creator. Suddenly, the Omnitrix detached itself from Ben's wrist. With Team Tennyson watching, Ben was left without his watch. We recently saw this block in the summary of the 3rd season in the Ventathlon, where Team Tennyson is captured by the Forever Knights, and Ben is neutralized with a very effective method. The Omnitrix gets a lock that doesn't allow him to use his aliens. He's immobilized. This one is quite different from the ones we had seen before. It fits the Omnitrix much better than the others. This is a purple-colored device, which has a yellow logo on the top. A key. We're still not sure how the Forever Knight managed to achieve this perfection, but later on we'll see much more precise technology. Man, I'm locked out. Locked out? How is that possible? At the end of Alien Force, we had already seen how Ben lost the Omnitrix. What nobody expected was that in this very episode, the Omnitrix would be destroyed. Yes. After handing the Omnitrix over to Vilgax, Ben decides to talk to Azimuth, who fills him with hope. He decides to recover the Omnitrix, and with the help of Gwen and Kevin, they are teleported to Vilgax's ship, where Ben threatens him by telling him to give the Omnitrix back, or else he'll make it explode. Ben quickly, using the voice command, he manages to activate the Omnitrix's self-destruct mode. And here, one of the coolest scenes in Ben 10, Alien Force happens, as a confident Ben decides to challenge Vilgax, giving him 30 seconds to hand over the Omnitrix. If the Omnitrix were to self-destruct, it would destroy the entire universe. That's what would happen if I charged it for days. That's why I'm only giving you 30 seconds. The squid didn't take Ben's words seriously. He made all his droids turn into swamp fire and tried to threaten Ben. He thought Ben would back down at the last second, but that didn't happen. Time was up, and in front of the entire Tennyson team, we saw the Omnitrix get destroyed. As we go up the ranking, we see how the devices have evolved, from the first one that could be removed with a key to the third one from the reboot, which was perfectly adapted to the Omnitrix. The next device I'm going to mention is the most perfect of all, since it deactivates the Omnitrix. This one was created by Azimuth in the Ben 10 Omniverse Saga in the episode Malgax Attack, where Albedo transforms into Ultimate Wrath and destroys Azimuth. Well, that's what he thought. No, I destroyed you. The creator rises from the ashes like a phoenix, only to show us his trump card, a device similar to a wand that completely disables the Omnitrix, being the creator of the Omnitrix. It sounds pretty believable that he has a device with which he can disable his masterpiece. Now, we don't know when he created it, but we're almost sure it cut the connection to the alien forms of the Omnitrix, or at least that's what it seems to be. At the end of the second season of Ben 10 the reboot, the Fulminate invasion is about to reach Earth, and Vilgax tries to warn Ben that something is not right with his watch. Inside the Omnitrix, there is an alien, who apparently is not what they thought. Shockrock would end up being a Fulminate, serving as the key for other aliens to enter planet Earth through the Omnitrix. With no options and war just around the corner, Ben decides to trust the squid, who activates a sequence to enter, leaving us once again with an empty watch. In Ben 10 Ultimate Alien, we had a somewhat nostalgic event. Ben had lost control over one of those ultimate aliens. Ben starts hearing voices in his head and begins to act very strangely. The ultimate forms inside the Ultimatrix seem to be driving him crazy, which leads to an internal struggle where everything collapses. The situation makes Ben lose control, and a red light emerges from his body. Now, this light has made an ultimate Humongosaur disappear. Unfortunately, it had also done the same with Ben. He had disappeared, leaving us only the Ultimatrix. With the arrival of the multiverses in Ben 10 Omniverse, the timelines collide, showing us a timeline where Ben doesn't have the Omnitrix, and strange things start to happen, like meeting characters similar to himself. Luckily, just as there are evil Bens, there are good ones too. He explains that everything is part of a much bigger plan. This Ben is unique because in all timelines, he's the only one who doesn't have an Omnitrix, which makes him a very easy enemy to defeat. During this great battle, and after meeting many Omnitrix holders in the end, and as usual, Vilgax is responsible for all of this. After a brilliant move and with a Chronosapien bomb, he manages to destroy all the dimensional Bens except for this Ben. Here, the original Ben, the one we all know, sacrifices himself, leaving us with two things, the Omnitrix and a great piece of advice. It's just a watch. Be a hero.